Oh, I'm struggling to hear. Hmm. Oh, I can hear you now. Oh, no, I can't hear you now.
You're on mute, Natalie.
Why? Sorry. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Oh, hi, Rona.
Hello. Can
Sorry,
you see?
that was me being special.
Oh, there we are. I'm back.
You can see you just fine, just fine. So we've just got Carol waiting for, and that's it today because both Sam and Donna aren't here. I've caught up with them separately. So yeah, we're gonna wait for Carol, and then we're gonna just start with just a few minutes, if that's all right, Lizzie. Just as like a little meditation, just to kind of set the scene. I feel like, yeah, I'm just sensing that we've rushed here, all of us. So it just a calm Zen 5 minutes or 3 to 5.
Just grounding meditation, yeah.
Would be amazing. Thank you. Just feeling the need for that today. Are you okay, Lauren? We can't see you at the moment.
Yes, I'm just having some technical issues, but I can hear you.
Okay, no worries. And then I think Carol said she was getting a sandwich, so it's whether we make a start or wait. What do we think? We might make a start, I think, and then when she joins, I can keep an eye on the waiting room, and then she can. I know she might be a bit late, and we don't want to wait too long. Okay, so everyone just turn your cameras off, get comfy as we normally do. And we're just going to have a grounding few minutes of calm just to set the scene, and then we're going to get stuck into life purpose today, which I'm super excited about. It is, I love it. I love life purpose. So yes, Lizzie, over to you, my love.
Okay, so get yourselves nice and comfortable, everyone. Just take your hands onto your knees or on your thighs, whatever feels right for you, and just lengthen through the spine. Just allow those shoulders to drop away from the ears. And then I invite you all to gently close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, let's just begin now by just arriving here and now in this very moment in time. So just becoming aware of our surroundings, so the space that we are in, and just allowing us to take our attention perhaps to just any sort of external sensations just for the moment. So the sound of my voice, you might hear some sounds just coming from inside the room, outside of the room, outside of the building you're in, and perhaps just noticing, any smells as well. Maybe you've recently cooked dinner, and perhaps also just gently noticing the temperature against your skin. How does that feel? And then perhaps also just feeling the light, gentle press of your hands, so the texture, how it feels against your skin, and how does it feel for your bottom to be placed on the chair. So just noticing those things with just a sense of, curiosity. And as you notice, so we're just stepping outside of that mind thought space that we tend to be in pretty much all the time. And gently now just dropping into the body. As you drop into the body now, just taking your awareness down to the feet, perhaps feeling that light, gentle press of the feet against the ground, against the earth here. Feeling that solidity of the ground, giving you that safety, that security here and now, in this moment in time, in this room, in you, in your body. And then just taking your awareness up towards your pelvis and just noticing again the support of the chair, the seat, whatever you're sat on. Again, feeling that security, that stability is holding us here in place in this very moment in time. And then just again, just noticing as you move from the pelvis just up the spine. Allow that spine to be soft, allow it to be relaxed, allow it to be lengthen at the same time. And as you come up towards the shoulders now, just noticing, are you holding any tightness, any tension there? Noticing the feeling in between the shoulder blades just for a moment as well. And can you just allow those shoulders just to drop away a little bit more now from the ears? Just allow now your attention and your awareness just to come up to the face. Allow that whole face to soften. So just relaxing the creases in your forehead, eyes back into their sockets, perhaps bringing the tongue to the two bottom front teeth. Gently parting the lips here. And then just allowing your breath to be soft. So just gently inhaling now through the nose. And then gently exhaling out the nose. Nice gentle inhale through the nose. Nice gentle exhale out the nose. So just spending a moment or two just here, quietly noticing the breath in and out of the nostrils. And noticing how that feels in your chest, how it feels in your belly. Now, if you're feeling a real sense of tightness still in the shoulders and a real sense of tightness in your chest, we're going to take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Draw those shoulders towards your ears now. And exhale it all out the mouth. Again, take another nice deep inhale, draw those shoulders towards the ears. Exhale it all out, allow everything to soften. Let's take one more deep inhale. Exhale, allow those shoulders to soften. Allow that breath to soften. And just allow the body to melt and soften down towards the ground, towards the earth. And just taking a moment with this feeling inside now, there's perhaps a little bit more space that we have created within us. And then when you're ready, very gently, just opening your eyes.
That was perfect timing. Carol just joined when we finished. Thank you so much, Lizzie. I feel like we've not started the session with one of those for a little while. And I think it's just nice to kind of leave anything that we need to leave at the door and then fully walk into this session and just be without that list, without those anxious feelings of anything from the day that's still with us. So I think just to draw that line is really important, especially when we're getting something so big like life purpose as well. Welcome, Carol. You missed the meditation, but don't worry.
Oh, that's a shame.
You can always catch it on the recording. Amazing, Lauren. We still haven't got your video. It's not a worry, but just I don't know if you want to try going in and out again, or whether you're just happy just to sit back in the background, whatever's good for you. Okay, amazing. So we didn't have Rona. Oh, you're back, Lauren. As if by magic. So we didn't have Rona last week, so just going to quickly recap on what this is all about coming into month 3. So welcome to month 3. The 2 modules, 1 and 2, you've survived and you are still on the ship, cruising in the right direction. So celebrate that, you know, two-thirds of the way through. And it hasn't been easy. We were saying last week, month 2 is hard because month 2 is all about, well, last week predominantly, that the crew piece is all about starting to bring some of this into our lives and actually challenge some relationships we have in place and actually start to act in alignment with the stuff we've learned, you know, learning it and then honoring your values and committing to your values and saying no to something that doesn't resonate. That's very different. So last week we were very much getting into challenging those relationships of asking the question, Rona, you know, of who do you want in our front row, you know, center stage, who do you want in your front row of your life? Yeah, because actually it's your choice, and that's really powerful, that analogy of like, who do we want there, and actually what seats do they take, and which seats aren't taken, and are open and available for us to fill, because we can then manifest that and bring that in. So we were saying, me and Lauren were saying, actually, there's a few of our seats that aren't taken at the moment. And for me, initially, that was like a feeling of sadness, but actually, there's a lot of opportunity that comes with that. And actually, a lot of that is because I've shifted and changed a lot. And so that person doesn't exist anymore. So a lot of those relationships have fallen away with that, with that person. And that isn't a bad thing, but we're conditioned to think negatively about losing friends and friendships ending. There's something around, people love to celebrate the length and duration of like a friendship, isn't it? Do you find that? Like, we've been friends 20 years, and that's amazing, but not if it's not serving you and supporting with who you're, with who you're becoming and pushing you forward. And the question we asked Rona, and it might be worth us just having one-to-one on this, is, is that friendship for a season, a reason, or a lifetime? Because that's a really nice way of like thinking, actually, is that friendship still deserving of me, my time and my energy? And is it supporting who I'm becoming? So it might be worth taking that back and reflecting on that. When you look at that lens, it starts to make you feel differently about why you meet certain people. On the back of that, Carol and Lauren, like from last week, was there anything that cropped up with, I know we've covered quite a lot of deep stuff last week, but was there anything that you kind of went away and thought differently about that you want to share back with anyone?
Just about the friendships, that it is okay for them to come and go.
Yeah. What about you, Lauren?
Yeah, I took a little bit more time to really look at my crew, because honestly, I felt it was pretty much empty. Maybe one slot, and that actually did bring quite a lot of sadness. But sitting on it through the conversation that we had, Natalie, and like on the fact that you have the opportunity to manifest those relationships and bring those more aligned people, I think I was still holding on to an older version of me. And doing all this work has really brought in some realizations of the fact that the empty seats is not a terrible thing. But yeah, there's a few more people that I think are deserving of a seat. But it's having that conversation with them about the journey that I want to take, and if they're prepared to take that journey with me and support me along that journey, then, like you said, sometimes those friendships, it's time for that friendship to go, but actually sometimes you actually just need to have the conversation about where you feel you're at and where your friendship is at, and if you can move forward, sometimes those relationships are stronger. So yeah, but I've still got a pretty empty front row.
And that's okay though, isn't it? And I think, it's interesting that you say that like me, that kind of initially is a negative judgment, but actually, if that was full, would we be, would that be spurring us forward in the same way? It's a great opportunity. And I think, weirdly, I've done this course 3 times now, and this is when I felt this module the most this time, because I'm very isolated. I was saying to Lizzie, very isolated at the moment, because I'm like in a massive transition of moving from one place to another, and actually it's funny because you're never done. There'll just be different bits that hit you at different times. So this bit for me is really current right now. So it just shows like it's fluid, like we're always going to be like losing people and like, and then building. It's like it's a never ending journey. And I think when we accept that, there's a bit of like pressure that goes as well with it. So yes, amazing. So just want to introduce the concept of life purpose, because it is really big. It is big, but now we've done all this work around the who, it is easier. So one massive misconception around life purpose is that we should know, like there's a lot of pressure to know and have our why sussed, isn't there? But also there's a belief that it's outside of ourselves, and we're kind of chasing something that isn't maybe from within. So going on this journey within and looking at our natural abilities, our natural strengths, the things that come easily to us, embracing those unique qualities that maybe we have forgotten along the way, the question around the why becomes a lot easier when we lean in it and look at it from that lens. So that's the lens that we're going to be exploring this through today. Now we've met the leader within and some of those different allies that can support us. It's about following that one step further, about actually, okay, we know who we are in the world. Now, from that place, what change and impact might we make to those around us? And one big misconception about life purpose is that we often make it too big. Where we may be saying like, okay, so I'm going to be the president of South Africa, you know, or I don't know if that's going to be someone that loves politics, but it's about making it so big that it's never achievable. It's so big that we set ourselves up to fail. So for us, this life purpose statement is about being every day a version of ourselves that we actually really align to. And actually it might be that we just touch one other person's life every day through a smile and the way that smile makes someone feel. So you can really see the fact that it doesn't have to be about changing your job or really hitting a massive milestone. It's about actually being a certain way every day that actually rings true to you. So I think that's one thing I would say, and that people find it a little bit overpowering initially when we start talking about this. Has anyone done anything around this in any way? Because I know, Rona, you're doing a lot of leadership development type stuff at work at the moment. Have you done anything along these lines at all?
Not really, no. No, not in terms of kind of like what's your unique perspective, you know, what you, it is interesting in your video thing you were talking about metaphor and thing and using that with life purpose, and I can relate a bit to some of that work.
Yeah, so there's two bits of this. So we're going to spend a little bit of time, the first kind of 15-20 minutes, looking at the impact, which is a bit I've just spoken about. So like how you want to be remembered, like why Rona makes her mark as Rona on the world, you know. But actually metaphor is how she does that. Because actually, if we have the same impact, you and I would do it completely differently. And that's about why you do it your way. And we have chatting about this around meditation, because Lauren's going on sure you won't mind me saying, Lauren trained to be a meditation teacher next year, and I've been pushing her to get really clear about how is someone going to feel when they've been to a session with you? How is their life going to change after showing up, being in a room with you and you holding that space for them? You know, what's special and unique about that? The same with Lizzie as a coach. Like, what stuff does Lizzie love? And it's the embodiment stuff with Lizzie. You know, what is it that's really unique to your story that is going to help you then support others in this process? You know, and it's really kind of getting clear on that bit. So we're going to cover metaphor at the end. Lizzie's going to introduce the concept because that takes a little bit more time. But we're going to do a few guided inner journeys just to start with around the impact. So I'm just going to guide you through a few little scenarios that are in the homework too, but doing them like this, it kind of, we can bounce it kind of off, off each other as well. And you might have some ideas already, but this kind of gets you thinking about it in a slightly different way. And Lizzie, it might be that yours has even changed, right? So we've done it 3 times now. Every time we do it, it's different. And I think that's the beauty in this, like we're constantly moving forward. Okay, so I am going to use this one first. This is one of my favorite ones. So you've been given a billboard and can put any message you want on it. Thousands of people will drive by and see your billboard every single day. What does it say? First thing that comes to your head. Don't overthink. Sorry?
Stop.
Yeah, powerful, isn't it, Rona? Yeah. And why? Talk me through that. What is it about stopping that you want people to feel, hear and see? And hopefully they don't just stop in their car in the middle of the motorway.
Well, yes and no, because I think kind of what I was thinking when you said that was, you know, that sign exists on the side of the road, and you just every day hundreds of cars just pass it without seeing it.
Yeah.
So the idea that the sign just was like stop, not cause a pile up as such, but you know, but actually the importance of
Actually
that,
putting that on and
putting your brakes on.
Yeah. And what, you know, what difference could that make to someone's day if, you know, you've thought about one person that saw that sign and then actually did take that moment, you know, what's that going to give them that they didn't have, you know? Getting really
just
on that impact, like what is the gift that you're trying to give that person here?
just some insight into where they're at that moment.
So becoming the observer of, like, you know, the conscious versus autopilot, right? Of
Yeah.
like 70, I think the stat is 74% of our life in autopilot. So it's like, okay, we can switch out of autopilot just for a second. Maybe we're going the wrong way. Like, do I want to be going there? Okay, good. I'm back on my program. This is where we're going now. You know, just sometimes we're just running someone else's show, someone else's program, and it's like, is this where I want to be right now? Okay, just checking. Good, carry on.
I think what you said earlier, you know, you said, oh, you're really big on accountability, and I feel very strongly about that as well, about kind of sorry, slight sidestep, but like ex of mine always used to get really upset when somebody would say, oh, you're really lucky, and he'd always make a real point of, no, I'm not lucky, like I've made this happen. And I think there's something about that, stopping and realizing, like, through your actions, what are you perpetuating, what are you enabling to keep happening, and that idea of actually we can change our lives, and it is in our gift to choose how, you know, to choose. And you make a lot of the time you make bad mistakes, or you know, or you make, but I guess it's about,
it's all yours, isn't it? Yeah, and it's all yeah, I love that. And I think there's something around just someone, well, I've been doing a little bit of work with a therapist recently, but she said, it's all yours. This is all your broken bits, but it's all your responsibility. So like, even if you're broken and messy sometimes, it's still your responsibility to sort that out, and actually then move forward from a place of being the author of your own life story. You know, so many of us like are the victim almost, but it's actually about being that heroine, isn't it? You know, feeling empowered by that big responsibility that holds. Keep hold of that, because that's really interesting, and how that then links us into kind of how that shows up every day is different, isn't it? Because that's very big, but what we'll get into is like, what's the daily action? Like, how would you hold this to account and deliver this message to a every day? You know, because that's where the daily action, the behavior and the action comes in. But you can see how it starts up here quite conceptually, and then start to relate it back to like ways of being in our life that then hold us to account to that. Anyone else want to share? And if you don't want to, don't worry, because this will take a bit of time. You might go away and almost readdress this.
I don't mind sharing. Oh, no, Lauren, you go for it.
Sorry, Lizzie. Actually, I'm not sure mine is on life purpose, but the message on my billboard would absolutely 100% be, take a reusable coffee cup. And I am very, very conscious of single-use plastic, and I am very vocal about fast fashion and single-use plastic and pollution and that sort of thing. So it really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it's something I'm quite passionate about.
Though, in a way, in that there's an element of you moving forward as a meditation teacher that's teaching people awareness, right? So actually that's the bridge of like, this is awareness, this is aware, like this is another way of using your awareness and being in the world. It's just a different, it's a slightly different way of enabling that. It's a slightly different way of the action, but the awareness message is still the same that you're teaching. See what I mean? I don't think it's a million miles away.
Thanks.
Maybe have the meditation, how you bring the coffee cup into the meditation class. Maybe, you know, that could be a tool, a prop. I don't know.
I do have a very pretty coffee cup. I will show you. I have it right here. And I get lots of comments on my coffee cup, and everyone that's like, yes, take a cup. Get a cup that you love and you will use it every day. Stop using single-use plastic.
I got really annoyed last week. We have Costa Coffee at work. So I took my beautiful pink flamingo cup and they're like, oh no, we're not doing own cups at the moment. You have to have our paper half disposable cup. Like, why? You're touching that one.
That's naughty, isn't it? That's not.
I won't have a coffee if I don't have my cup. If I can't sit in and enjoy it in the cafe, then I will not use a paper cup.
I will do that next week. If they still refuse, then I will refuse to purchase one. I will make a point. Thank you.
Yay, go Carol.
Exactly the point of life purpose statements is it's changing or planting a seed in one other person. Like the fact that Carol is going to take on the action and show up differently as a result of something you've said. This is exactly the power of life purpose. It isn't, I know this is a kind of a roundabout way of explaining, but you see what I mean? And it isn't about writing a book.
You've had an impact on me.
Yay!
Tiny impact, you know, and the ripple effect, because Carol will go and tell 3 or 4 other people about, and then she might even have an argument with a coffee shop owner one day, who then might get very upset and then, you know, create a different way of being for the whole coffee shop. And he might have a franchise that has 100 coffee shops. I'm going to keep going. No, I'm not. Lizzie, over to you. What about yours?
What popped up for me was open your heart.
That's similar. How has that shifted from before? Because it is a similar theme. Did that change at all or feel any different?
Well, I think before, I can't remember. I had quite a few different ones for my billboard. I mean, this isn't necessarily going to be what's on my purpose statement, but it is connected. And so this, I mean, it's basically with all this stuff, it's what's relevant to you at that current time in your life, right? So I've been doing a lot of work, a bit of work around grief. So I lost my mum a couple of years ago, and I've been working with a healer, and kind of what came out of it was really that I sort of put this big armor around my heart. And so for me, doing this healing work is kind of like the embodiment work that I'm wanting to do, in a sense, with my yoga students, perhaps with the coaching work that I'll get into. So yeah, it's opening your heart is part of the healing process, because I think we all tend to, in general, in this society, we disconnect from the neck down. So opening up the heart is like one of the steps in that process, really.
I love that. One of my favorite quotes is, in a world afraid to open their hearts, don't be scared to lead with yours. I love that. It's one of my favorite quotes. So powerful, isn't it? Amazing.
And interestingly, like I just did a yoga training on the weekend, like yin yoga and myofascial release, and like one of the themes that I picked was all about opening up the heart space. So
very current to you right now.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how we can build that into some of the work you're doing through the coaching too, because I do feel like that would be really nice to start to bring that through, in terms of you having your own kind of area of expertise there, almost, you know.
Yeah
We've all got that natural piece that we want to share, but it's kind of just getting really clear about what that is and why, and then bringing your lived experience through as well. Okay, we're going to do one more. It's a little bit of a wacky one, but I'm going to do 2 very different ones, because we're all very different people. So that was kind of quite a logical one. This is a little bit needs a little bit more creativity maybe, so we might like it, we might not, but we're going to go do both. So Lizzie, you've done this one before. So you're getting into a spaceship. So the spaceship takes off. You're on your way to an undeveloped planet in the universe. It's a fine planet in every way, but it's uninhabited. You have the power to make this planet whatever you want it to be. When you land, what is it that you're going to make happen here? What's the impact that you want to have that's going to create the planet in the way that you want it to be? The ship is landing, the doors open, you touch the planet, you'll put your feet on the ground and say, it's going to be this way. What is this way? What do you see? What's important for you to make present there? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? And people with this one might just see lots of green, might just, we have different things, but you might just see color, you might just see certain objects, but just share what you see at the moment. And you'll do this one again in the homework as well. Anyone want to share anything that maybe was a surprise to them or they didn't expect to see?
I see like a community with communal amenities and shared work.
Mm-hmm. So like a sense of community and connection, because that can feel lost, can't it, in the world that we live in today?
Like I imagine, I haven't got an allotment, but what I see about allotments is everybody there helps each other. That kind of sharing the knowledge and everybody benefits.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's living in London was really hard for me because I felt like connection was really not present, and that was a big shift after COVID, moving to London and feeling almost so alone, but in such a big city. And yeah, it's that simplicity of that, isn't it? It's actually human nature, but I've gotten those basic kind of skills in lots of ways. So again, make a note of that, Carol, because there's something there that means something to you, and it might not lead to kind of a specific action at this point, but just note that that's important, and that we'll kind of
it does tie in with how I am, because where I live, if you walk to the shops, you say hello to everybody, and our community centre is kind of the heart, and there's a lot of activities that I do and other people do there. Yeah, it does mean something.
Good. Amazing. Anyone else want to share anything? And don't feel like you have to. We'll do one more and then we'll start to explain how we put our actual statement together shortly.
Well, I think very similar to what Carol was saying, and yeah, community was tied in with that. But for me, equality and sustainability were the words that came up. And yeah, I just envisaged a world where we haven't got a lot of the inequality and suffering that we have.
So everyone very
together,
same situation, similar sized houses. That's what I saw, like it almost immaculate, like exactly the same size houses, and everyone had the same space and the same amount of food. So that real, like, everyone on the same equal, or like that came through really strongly, and that's something we don't see a lot of now. There's inequalities all around us. You know, that's more normal, isn't it, to kind of be living in a world full of inequality. Anything that Rona or Lauren want to share before we move on to the final one?
Yeah, there wasn't people on my planet.
Oh, sounds delightful, Lauren. What was that? Animals, water, anything? Animals,
water, forest, green, no pollution was the pollution was the word. Yeah,
that's really important, isn't it? I think it kind of links back to what you were saying before, and actually it feels like for you there's almost two very important subjects close to your heart, which is the meditation awareness piece, but there's something more here around kind of climate action, environment, that maybe hasn't been discovered yet. And what I would say with life purpose, it doesn't have to be a job. It could be how you volunteer your time, or just how you show up and actually campaign for a cause. This might just be challenging, you know, that one person, or saying to a friend, if you thought about this, this doesn't have to be, you know, a career change. It can be really tiny, that the way we take some of these on, which means that you can have multiple purposes that you care about. Anything from you, Rona?
Not really. It was a lot of nature and unspoilt, and yeah, no people either.
We're all going to live in a world with no people. Oh, sociable.
But
like, did it feel like people maybe was like, I just interested in terms of the pace of life that people were living? Did that feel like it was slower than maybe?
it was just the quiet, I think, was what was really noticeable. Just quiet and yeah, peacefulness.
Slow, I think is the word
No.
for me.
Slow.
Slow.
Good word. This is where the words, if you do think of words that come up, note them down, because this is where in our life purpose statement the words are very important. Which words you use and how they hold energy is really important. So actually, if there's something that comes up around connection, Carol, or something like that, this is where the life purpose statement drafts will come in, because about those words being very powerful, and finding you won't know you found the right word until you say it a certain way, and you're like, oh, there's just so much power in how you say it. This is the really kind of powerful bit about this. Okay, so final one. So again, feel free to close your eyes, get comfy or not. They're kind of mini meditations, but they don't have to, you know, they don't have to be treated as that if you don't want to. So we are going to use, which was the final one I want us to do. Okay, we're going to think about this one. Think of a time in your life when you felt at your most powerful. A time when your spine, arms, and fingertips were tingling with excitement. A time when you simply didn't care what anyone thought of you. You were absolutely alive. I want you to notice where you were, what you were doing, and who was around you. And what you can see from these, there's a few more in the homework too, but they're a real mix of using the creativity around imagining something that doesn't exist, using a time in your life that has been and gone. You know, and there's different ways of creating this vision, and this is why it's nice to just try a few different ones, because actually different things work for different peoples. A lot of us need kind of memories. A lot of us, others need kind of to access our creativity to support us with this. Hence, they're all quite different. So if one of them just doesn't resonate, don't worry. And there's a few others as well. Like there's one around standing on a stage and delivering a really important message. And then it counts you down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you have just the chance just to say a statement and change everyone in that room forever. You know, what would you say? You know, so again, it's around like really tapping into different ways to get clear on this. Does anyone have, with that one, it's harder, there's usually a memory that comes up or there isn't? Anyone that was taken back to a time that was particularly powerful for them? And if so, what was present?
No, I struggled with that a little bit.
And that's okay. Anyone else?
I've got one, but it's just time with community again, because I managed to summit a peak, but I couldn't have done it on my own, even though it was my body that got me up there and my determination. It was with the support of other people. And then when I was there, it was the clean air, the clear skies, the mountain views.
Wow. So there's that theme there again, isn't there? But there's probably that accomplishment is obviously current in that maybe didn't exist in other scenarios as well.
Yes.
Anything, Lizzie, Lauren?
I think it was my yoga teacher training experience in India, because there was a real sense of community and connection and healing, and yeah, the achievement as well of completing the course, like it was all quite new at the time, and I felt like I'd really gained a skill. And like for me, I felt like it was the most amazing gift I could offer myself.
It starts with you, and then you kind of were able to then start to offer it to the world, and I think that's the beautiful thing about life purpose. Like, it actually is very inward before it becomes something that you outwardly share, but that's often the bit that you rush. And even from my experience, like becoming a coach, I went into my coach training to do that for me, because I needed to put myself back together again. And then at the end, I was like, well, obviously I need to share this with the world. How can I not? Like, who are you not to, right? But actually, you're just going into that from a place of actually your own healing. And that's the beauty in this. That lived experience is at the heart of it, and that's why if we don't use that lived experience, it's a really important part of the jigsaw puzzle, I think. And one thing I will say to you, Rona, doing the work that you do, is this isn't just about finding a new life purpose. So we had Emma on our last course that is an OT in the NHS. And she was like, didn't she say to us, Lizzie, she was like, I've just realized why I do what I do. So it made her realize why she did her work, because she was like unconsciously in an amazing role helping people because she's an empath and she loves helping others. But she hadn't put two and two together and realized, oh my God, I do my job. So this isn't just about, oh God, I'm not in the right place, I need to be over here. It's about patting yourself on the back and saying, wow, that's why I do what I do. And really consciously taking that forward into your life. So it isn't all about, taking a different path. It's just being certain and trusting the one that you're on often as well, sometimes. Especially for us that work in in those kind of coaching, therapy, healing roles, because actually there's no coincidence why you do those jobs. Okay, amazing. So, Lizzie, will you talk us through a little bit just around the metaphor, please, and share your own life purpose statement with people? Because what I want to leave people with is just a chance. And if anyone has done any drafts, please feel free to share them with us. But I thought it was important to explore impact a bit more today, because actually that's a really important part of it. The impact for me comes first, and then it's how you be in when you're delivering that impact. But Lizzie, feel free to just share a bit about the metaphor, because we will do a bit more visualization on the metaphor next week and help you actually find and create your metaphors, because it does take a bit of time. But Lizzie will just kind of dip your toe in with what it's all about.
So did you set everyone the task of creating their statement?
Well, we did. I did say about having a go at our drafts, but I think based on where we've got to today, it felt more important to explore impact and stay there a bit more, because actually I didn't sense when I spoke to people during the week that most people had got to creating their life purpose statements yet. Now, I might be wrong in that people have brought them, but I didn't feel like we were quite there. Hence, I just wanted to spend a bit more time on that impact, which is why I think seeing a statement put together now from you and me will help us go away and then put the bits of the jigsaw together and then present them next week.
Cool. Okay. So if we're looking at, I'll tell you what, I will tell you what my life purpose statement is, and then we can go on to talk about the metaphor aspect of it. So my life purpose statement is, I'm the shining star that guides you to your truth. So the first part, which is the impact part, I suppose, I'm the shining star, that is very much tied into the work on. So basically, you're bringing in the ally work you've done, the leadership work you've done, the crew work you've done, and the value work, and you're tying it all into this one statement. So I am the shining star. So do you remember when I shared with you my leader, who was Shakti, the goddess of energy? So shining star very much ties in with this ball of bright shining energy. And so the metaphor aspect, I suppose, of the statement is guiding you to your truth. Oh, well, actually, no. Shining star is the metaphor aspect of it too, and guiding you to your truth is the life.
Your truth is your impact.
Yeah, sorry, that's right. Yeah, I got it the wrong way around. Apologies. I was just reading. I was like, oh yeah, no, it's the other way around. Sorry. So yes, yeah, shining star is the metaphor aspect of the statement.
And why, Lizzie, just for others' benefits, but why did you choose? Because you're similar to me. So my life purpose statement is, I am the lighthouse that guides you home. So we both use the word guide. So why did you use the word guiding you to your truth? Because I think this is where the language is really important.
Guiding, because guide is like support, assistance. So if you look at my life purpose, my role that I'm in at the moment with yoga teaching, with this learning about coaching, working towards becoming a coach, I essentially am supporting people and providing them with tools to find their inner truth, essentially. So guiding, I felt, was like the right word in that statement.
Yeah, and it feels soft enough, doesn't it? And how did you, because I know initially truth wasn't the same word at the end, the impact in terms of truth. So again, just explain a bit about why that word resonated. Do you remember any of the other drafts that you had initially? Because again, this is why I'm saying to Lauren, like, that word slow, like remember these words, because actually, if you think about, so the whole statement is, I am the metaphor that impact. Okay, and that's the sentence. So I am the metaphor lighthouse that. So that's the, and it really is honestly so powerful how you use these words, because you can have 3 different statements with the words around different ways and it can mean a completely different thing. And until you say it, that's when you know that actually that's who you are and who you're being. But this is why it's so good to come away with 3 draft statements, all slightly different. I remember with yours, Lizzie, you had like a guiding star and then you had 2 other metaphors. And until you like were embodying that when you were saying it, you resonated with one more than the other, if that makes sense.
I think because as I was saying, we're tying in sort of our values into the statements, and truth is, honesty and truth is one of my values. And so guiding you to your truth, I'm guiding myself to my truth and I'm guiding others to their truth as well. So that really resonated very strongly with me. And so, what we're doing with these statements, it's like poetry really, isn't it? And so, it's like, I am the shining star. So like shining is the adjective of the noun here. So finding something that sits really beautifully and simply what's the other word I'm looking for? I can't think of the other word, but it's finding a really beautiful way that you can put this together that's going to resonate with you, essentially.
Yeah. And one thing I would say with metaphors is it's quite hard to think about metaphors. Like, we don't get taught really since primary school, to like use metaphors. This is one thing when we first did it that we found really hard. We were like, what? But if you think about something like water and all the different states that water has and different ways you could explain the embodiment of water, of how the energy is moving through water. So a lake, an icicle, a droplet, a waterfall. Like, do you see what I mean? In that we can have one word and so many different perspectives as to the energy that comes with the way that energy is being. And nature's great. So like, again, it might be that Lauren, I don't know why this has just come to me, but the nature and environment bit around yours is probably, really linked to nature, like in the sense that actually using nature as a metaphor and how that shows up in the energy of that is a really important part of this. And actually, like Lizzie said, the being element of the leader within, it's about asking the leader within an ally is about whether this statement resonates and whether this statement supports you with who you're becoming. This statement is about keeping you stuck. Like, this statement's about, is this statement taking me forward in my life? And that's then it's time for a new one as well. And you might need to get rid of it every now and then because it might not be bold enough. So you might need to be like, you know what? We had, didn't we, one of them that was like the lion, you know, Maria, she was a lion. And then, but she started out, I think she was like something.
A cat, wasn't it, originally?
And then turned into a lion. She was like, it's not bold enough. So this is the thing, like, it embodies some power around how you're going to approach showing up in the world, you know, that way. And that's why even my statement saying that today, the lighthouse that guides you home, I don't know, it feels like it might have changed again. Like, it sometimes when you show up and embody that, it feels like you have to kind of tweak something or change something, and it's a constant process. Lizzie, what
yeah, so it might be helpful with your like if you're looking for a metaphor, so thinking about the categories of metaphors. So, you know, Natalie sort of touched on nature, you know, something within nature that you really resonate with, that's powerful to you, or, you know, something in the universe, space, or think about different spaces, different environments, animals as well, as Natalie touched on the lion, people potentially as well, love, objects. It can be anything, because remember, if we think about what a metaphor is, you're comparing something that's a bit different but actually would describe that situation.
So we had someone, didn't we, Lizzie? I'm using the other group as an example because theirs was so varied last time, but we had someone that was like a warm hug, didn't we?
Yeah, that was so lovely.
Soft hand, you know, so actually you can see how they're so powerful to really kind of keep you, you know, in alignment with, you know, showing up in that way. And then what falls out of them is actually the daily action, which, you know, I love talking about daily actions of like, of how do I know Lauren is being that life statement, you know, and is it the way that she's holding space for someone in that moment? Is it the way that she's smiling? Is it just the warmness that you feel from being in a room with her, you know? And that's the bit that comes next. And this is why when you do your life statement drafts next week, you might challenge each other's metaphors and say, Lauren, I don't think you are a tiger. I don't know. You might be, like, that's an example, Lauren, because you could be a tiger. But I'm just saying, like, you might have a mirror of someone that actually shows you like a reflection of yourself that you've not seen before. And this is where it's really interesting, because how you see yourself, there might be elements that you aren't even aware of that you bring to a space that someone can point out to you, and you can realize, wow, that's so powerful. I hadn't even realized that was the way I was being in that moment. We've seen that a lot, haven't we, Lizzie? In terms of like seeing you say that statement and seeing someone go, wow, yes, or being like, oh, no, I'm not sure. How so we can refine them together as a group and come up with kind of the updated versions. And this bit we spend a bit of time on, because spend a bit of time to just redo them, keep saying, keep shifting words, you'll just randomly see like words, and you'll just kind of play around with that word in the statement over the coming weeks. Is there anything that you guys want to ask any questions on in terms of that? Is there anyone that kind of has any words in mind? Because Carol's like, I've made it, I've done it already, complete.
I come up with a word, seed. Like,
seed or feed?
Seed, S-E-E-D. Because the seed is nutritious, it's full of energy because it grows from a seed, but it's also small, it starts small. So I didn't know if the first part of my... Are
you using that metaphor, or are you using that as your impact?
My metaphor.
I am the seed.
Yes.
You use?
Yeah, then that's as far as I've got.
But that's big though, isn't it? Because actually
well, it ties in with small steps leading to bigger changes, and it ties in with nutrition.
Okay, and we've got to now find the bit around what is it, you know, that the seed goes on. Like, what's
yeah, all I wrote, this doesn't sound right. I wrote, I am the seed to help you eat more nutritiously. I don't like that, but
it's about nourishing. It's about It's about continuing to grow, isn't it? It's about sustainability. There's something about connection that maybe needs to come through there as well.
Yeah.
I honestly love this. I could do this all day long. I feel like I wish this was like, it's good if we could go, I could go into companies and do this around their, like, you know, their values and their mission. Because this is the thing, like, this is where, when you're getting it, like, you're doing a personal brand as well, becoming like a yoga teacher or a meditation teacher or a nutritionist and doing your logo on your website. This is all the kind of stuff that you can take forward. And actually, this is your personal brand, pretty much, isn't it? When you're looking at then creating a business from here. So you can see how this can be taken forward and actually be then the momentum, then be that, create the vehicle of like the brand that then creates the change in the world. So this is just the start, but you can see how it's a very personal way of making this about you at the heart of it. Because actually our business, if it's not us at the heart, or it maybe isn't a business, it, you know, might be the way we just show up in the world. It starts with us. And that's often the bit that we don't include from the beginning. Any other thoughts on that? Lauren, Rona, any kind of words you've just kind of had spring to mind? And no worries if not, because we're going to have obviously a good chunk of time.
Well, Carol, just rewording yours a little bit, what popped into my head was, I am the seed that nourishes the community.
Ooh.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm just going to write that down.
This is what I mean. It's and also think about tense. Is it present tense? Is it third person? Is it, you know, again, don't feel like, play around with the way that you're saying that as well sometimes, because actually there's different tenses that feel more powerful to some people as well.
You know what? I don't know if you heard my phone ring earlier. That was the lady about catering for a do on Thursday night, because I wasn't happy with the menu because everything was pastry, and I said, so I'm now in charge of vegetables.
See, you're already doing it.
Yeah.
Just to pull a card right now. You're already doing it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the thing. It's remembering old Jay Shetty. What comes easily to me? What's the stuff that I'm doing without even realizing that I've been since I was a kid, you know, that just I've always done and not realized that that was my gift to share. Rona, anything from you? Any thoughts?
I'm slightly bothered by a painful back, so I'm sorry for all the fidgeting and the
I didn't know what you were going to be bothered by.
Yeah, warm hugs from all of us.
You just get some heat on it.
Yeah. I'm normally on my laptop and it's not working being on my phone. I can't get comfortable.
Well, don't worry. Why don't you sit with that, and we can always have 20 minutes just in the week just to throw some ideas.
Yeah. There's something about transformation. I don't know. It's like, I think sometimes with these things, I go back to old metaphors or old things that I've used in the past, and they kind of go in cycles and they like reappear in the future. But a lot of years ago now, like 25 years ago or so, I wrote a poem, and the line in the poem went something along the lines of, and the colours of her, I can't remember it now. Something about the colours on the wings of her, like her changing, you know, information and butterflies. Look it up now. I had it in there a minute ago.
That might be a big part of this. Definitely, there might be some words there that resonate that you want to take forward into your new statement.
And there is, I think, something about transformation that I think I have dealt with a lot of adversity in my life, and I've taken a lot of responsibility for transformation, and it's been slow a lot of the time, and you know, not necessarily
slow, like the stop, like that's maybe why that's your way, like,
yeah. But I think there's something about being the mirror that that reflects that transformation is
like possible, almost. It makes transformation possible. Without that reflection, you're not able to then blossom and bloom, you know, into yeah, that's really powerful, isn't it? You know, and then you can see how every day you can then show up differently and then be that for people through holding yourself to account with your statement. That's where this is so powerful.
But the thing that I'm stuck on, and you know, like kind of like the purpose of me coming here is about I've been really reflective. I've been really insight. You know, I've had a lot of insight. I've taken a lot of control. I've done a lot of transformation. But the one thing that I cannot change is my weight. So I don't quite know how to go from all that positive stuff about transformation and all the ways in which I have transformed myself, and I am an advocate for people not just being a victim of their circumstances, but to actually find it in themselves somewhere to make the changes and be responsible for those changes in your life that will make your life better for you. But I can't do it for this thing.
But I think that's what we need to explore a bit more and get into that, because it feels like there's maybe, because we often say, don't we, like if we're trying to make a change forward, maybe there's something blocking us or something we can let go of, a belief or something like that maybe is stopping us from moving forward. But it feels like that it isn't, there's some unfinished business with some of that I think needs maybe just, you know, a bit of time spent on it, because it feels like you've got all the tools, but there might be a reason why you're just stuck on that. But let's spend some time like one-to-one on that, I think. And then that purpose statement might give you a real practical tool to then look and then have a perspective on that area of your life that you've never had before. Take a bit of space back, make it very specific. And I think this is where this can be quite general, but I think use it as specifically as we can. So in your scenario, let's make it really focused on what the intent is here. Okay. Lauren, any thoughts from you? No, you're going to have a play around for us.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything that really sparked.
That's okay. It doesn't need to spark. I love that word.
You sparked me, Lauren.
I did.
And hopefully you'll be pleased. I cycled to work twice last week after our meeting and thinking about what was important to me in the climate and that, and like, why do I use my car every day?
See, Lauren, you're already doing it. Think how
she is. I do have a threshold of the temperature though, sorry.
That's fine. That fills me with joy.
Oh, good.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, everyone. I think we will leave that there. I'm hoping that that's given you enough of an idea of where this is going to get us to. It's just another tool. It might be that this doesn't, not all of it will resonate, as I always say, throughout the program. You know, if the life purpose statement feels like, yeah, I get it, but I'm not going to use it every day, but my leader within and my values I am, that's fine. It's another tool in the toolkit that we can like use to kind of help us move forward. You know, and I think just go into your life next week with a bit of awareness around how you're showing up, who you're being when you are in alignment, and maybe, yeah, the things that you're doing that maybe you haven't even been aware of, that actually are you doing and being and showing up from that place of your life purpose. And how's that different from a day that you're not, you know? It could be the color that you wear, I don't know, or the way you start your day. You know, this is where like those daily actions, it is how we make those changes. It isn't about sudden transformation. It all comes back to daily actions. So I hope that that's given you a bit of an idea, and I think next week we'll share the 3 drafts we'll do some co-creation as a group to kind of like come up with some like alternatives, and then we'll choose one going into the final week that will allow us to then wrap up the whole program under that umbrella of that life purpose statement being kind of like our summary document. We'll do a bit about telling our story, looking back around the program, and doing a bit of accountability around what is beyond 3 months as well, because this is only the beginning. And I often say to a lot of people post program, like, that's when the work starts, because we can understand all the awareness, but then embodying it and integrating it, like I'm only just integrating my crew 3 times in. So this shows it's always about continuing to show up and then make that choice every day, you know, and actually you'll have the course forever, so you might go back to it. We'll have some accountability around each other showing up for you, you know, as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed that, and like I said, I'd love to catch up with you guys if it's helpful, or just throw stuff at me and Lizzie throughout the week in terms of what do we think of this word, what do we think of that word. Like, if you're struggling with it, don't just use us, because this is where like we are here to kind of support you to put these together.
Thank you.
So yes, enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone, and we'll be back again next Monday, and then we have one more after that, and then it's Christmas. And I think we will do some kind of physical meetup in January, if that's all right with everyone, some yoga and just like, you know, a long walk or something. But I think, you know, the main feedback was people are, especially Lauren, bless you, working in retail. Lauren's like, I have no weekends left before Christmas. So we'll do that in the new year for sure as well.
Where do you live, Lauren?
Where do I live? In Oxford.
Oh, okay. I'm near Abingdon.
Yeah,
Oh, not far.
Where are you, Rona? She frozen.
Oh, sorry. I'm in Whitney.
Oh, right. Oh,
not too far either.
So I think we'll probably do something at Lizzie's a little bit further up. She's in Shropshire. You're in Shropshire, Lizzie, aren't you? Yeah. But we'll do some kind of physical event, probably at Santosha down in Wallingford in January as well. I know Donna's up in Manchester, so she's not as local. And then Sam is in Lisbon, so it'll literally just probably us. She's in Lisbon at the moment, but she's actually back in, I think she's back home at the moment, but I know she's going to be looking at going back to living in Lisbon again.
Wow.
It might just be us, but no, it's nice to know that physically we're not a million miles apart, you know. Have that container, and that's what the alumni is for. So after the course ends, we have a monthly session as an alumni where you'll kind of revisit the monthly topics, and we'll basically use each other and all the other old people to kind of like bring the accountability back. So that's kind of, Lauren, tell me about a time when you used your leader within in the last week. That's like real, that's the bit that really kind of beds this in. Without that, it's a very lovely journey that feels like we never bring it into action. So we'll tell you a little bit more about that as well.
Is the event on the 5th of December still going ahead?
No, so that's the one I messaged you about that I'm going to move.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
Weren't free. I just couldn't get the numbers up. So that's probably going to be that first or second weekend of January, but I'll confirm that and I'll resend it to everyone. But yeah.
All right. Didn't see that one. Sorry.
People, you know what it's like with weekends in December. I think people have gone a bit crazy. So we will get there, but we'll definitely do something.
Okay.
Amazing. All right. Well, me and Lizzie will stick around if anyone wants to just catch us for a second. Rona, please reach out and let's kind of debrief.
Yeah, making a.
And I think you've missed the last 2, haven't you? So we do need to just make sure that you've caught up on a few bits as well. All right. Nice to everyone. Sorry, Rona, carry on.
Oh, so do I book an appointment with you through the website? Is that?
Yeah, use that, or just message me and I can just, whatever's easy. Mondays and Fridays are better unless it's weekdays after 5. But Monday, Friday, I'm like around in the day a little bit more. But yeah, let's just try and find at least even just 30-40 minutes would be good.
Yeah, would be good. Yeah, it's been a tricky couple of weeks.
You're back in the rhythm too. If you kind of, Donna's the same, she's missed a few, so it's just kind of like making sure that you're getting that like support, just so you don't feel like you completely kind of are out of the loop really. But life does happen, so you know it's completely normal. All right, guys, I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Lovely to see you. I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye.